All right, ladies and gents, happy Sunday. We weren't going to go through a full weekend without at least having a little bit of a pocket change report action. This is from March 16, 2025. Hopefully, you guys are having a great weekend. We're going to be taking a look at some of the finds that folks like you and I have identified out there. Whether you're an avid change hunter, a lot of folks are doing that. Roll hunting, another big sport, as a lot of folks are trying to look for silver. Silver's going up, and that ultimately means that that roll hunting is becoming a lot more busier. And we've seen this before. We've seen it back, like 13, 14 years ago, at the conclusion of that recession period back in 2009 to 2011. A lot of people were really into it as silver marched past $50 an ounce. So, finding silver, great. A lot of people still doing it today. However, we have to look beyond that as supply of silver. It's just dwindling by every passing day, and we can't 100% leverage what we could find on that precious metal, but also identifying other things like errors and varieties that'll help kind of fill in the gaps there. And that's what a lot of people are doing. They're finding those, they're selling them online. There's a lot of big varieties and errors that have been found here just in the last 5 years that people are monetizing a great deal on. So we're going to cover a few of those here today, as we do every time we do a PCMR. So I'm going to thank you guys for popping on in. We got 24 hours about of activity, all coins ungraded raw. The big idea is here, save your money, keep it in your pocket, don't grade your coins. They speak for themselves, and most people that buy these are collectors that prefer the coins raw. Something tangible that they could hold and, examine for themselves. All right, so we're going to look at these here momentarily, guys. As you guys would guess, my little pitch for whatnot I sell on this platform along with eBay and a few others. It's a full supplemental kind of like business plan. And, we do shows every Friday night. At least we try to. We had a really great show here a couple nights ago. So we're on 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's one of my favorite platforms to buy, sell on. They are growing by each passing day. If you are not a part of the Whatnot experience, you need to be. And I have my QR code right there on screen. Makes it easy. But if you don't like using the old QR code, you can go ahead and click into the description box, and I'll have my links there as well. You sign up under me today, you get $15 off your first item, and it's automatic. It happens upon your first purchase. And it's a lot of fun, Save money on that 1 ounce of silver, save money on that US type coin, a comic book, vintage video game, you name it. Anything that we sell on the platform is kind of like open season. So go ahead and take advantage of that. Hope to see you guys there. So with that being said, we're going to move beyond this here and go ahead and check out. I have a little bit smaller list here today. I wanted to just make sure that we got a little bit of a PCMR out. Some pretty interesting stuff. 1958, Roosevelt dime. This thing doesn't look like a whole lot. People that don't know their mint errors will look at this and automatically assume that it's been played around with, kind of like ground down somewhere or whatever. This is a legitimate curved clip, showing also the Blakesley effect, which is a flattening of the rim on the opposite side of that clipped area. The message is real simple here, folks. Look at everything. Look at your constitutional silver stack. Look at your coins as they're being handed to you in change. Even this kind of like minor mint error right here pays off in spades. So, something like this, which probably ordinarily has a melt value of maybe $1.80, $1.85 in today's market. This piece right here sold for $15.69. Mint errors on obsolete kind of compositions like silver are much more meaningful. The people, collectors of mint errors will pay a little bit more to own these because you just don't see them as much out there in the market. Same for this one. It's not the most prettiest. It's got a lot of scratches. 1928 Mercury dime, one of my favorite type coins, I would say. When a mint error pops up on any of the obsolete older type designs like this one, it's really quite special. These used to be a lot more available back in the 50s and the 40s and things like that. But these days, finding just one example, it doesn't matter what it looks like, it's kind of like half the battle, right? They're a lot more tougher. I'm not saying rare because a lot of these are just being soaked up into collections and are just not going anywhere. So there will be the occasional piece here and there that'll pop up. This is one of them here. Scratches aside, it's actually a really decent looking coin. I have a feeling it's been cleaned at some point, but it's got a lot of details. It's a good solid XF details type coin. So this particular one ended up, in spite of all the damage and the fact that it probably was cleaned, $130.85. Whereas a problem-free example of the same date probably would fetch $250 to $300 in the current economic space for such mint errors. So again, something like this can pop out in a collection. You just never know. And this is a little bit of a public service announcement for a lot of you that are new to the hobby. Don't clean your coins. That won't be the first time you hear that. There's a lot of other, expert coin collectors, dealers that'll tell you the same thing. Cleaning diminishes value on any coin. It doesn't matter what it is. Kind of hard to believe that our highest quality products from the mint also you could find mint errors on. The Silver Eagle program, since its inception back in 1986, has been something that they've been very proud of. And as a result, they take great care in the production of our nation's silver bullion. It's the most recognizable silver bullion, bar none, out there. So finding a little tiny microscopic mint error, is actually quite meaningful because there's a huge collector base for such pieces. This is a 1998 Silver Eagle. You could probably see it there on Lady Liberty's dress, right there on the hind leg. We do have a strike through. There was a little bit of probably grease and debris sitting on the die, and it struck this coin. A very rare event because they customarily do their rounds and they inspect the dies quite often for the Silver Eagle productions, whether that's the uncirculated types, which is commonly referred to and used as bullion, or even the proof coins. We've seen mint errors on all of them. So in today's market, a standard Silver Eagle like this one, traditionally trades in at $36 to $38. There's a pretty decent premium on them right now of about $3 to $5 per. But if you find something like this, keep in mind, adds a lot of value to the piece. This one ended up selling here for $98.95 on eBay. You find it, sell it. That's nearly worth almost 3 Silver Eagles right there, and that's a great way to make some money. If you use your eagle eyes and you identify things like that, this is where it could really, really push a tide in your favor and make some extra money to pad your wallet with. The next one that we have here, this is what I call the AppMex release CUD die break on the 1974D. We call this the AppMex CUD among a few of us in the community because AppMex were selling full rolls of these about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I think, and they had quite a few of them. So there's a CUD die break right over the word trust right there where a piece of the die had cracked and fallen out just, due to wear and tear, which is quite common. That's a common event on a lot of the bits and pieces of the mint press as a strike millions of coins a week. There's bound to be some things going on, kind of like when we drive our cars. There's a lot of wear and tear that occurs. So this one right here exists in pretty great numbers all across eBay. They're not worthless. I can tell you that. Even with a far greater supply out there, there's still demand for them. Like this one here sold for $17. The unfortunate part is most cut die breaks sell in that $25 to $50 range for similar sized pieces. And this one is a beautiful mid-state red example. So because of the injection of such pieces into the marketplace, there's still desirability, there's still demand, but the supply at this given juncture just far exceeds that demand. I mean, eventually they'll clear out of the system. It might take a few 2 or 3 years, but as of right now, I mean, if anything, if you want one, you can buy one relatively cheap today. And this is one of those cases where taking a picture of a coin in a cardboard 2x2 flip might actually work against you. This one ended up being a sale, so this one right here, not too bad. But this is what the overall quality looks like of imaging a coin in a 2x2 would look like, because the 2x2s are cardboard. They're going to have little frayed edges, where the dies then, quite cut cleanly onto that window right there. But this one, if you look very closely over the word Liberty, you're going to see like a little snaky trail little thing there. That's a strike through, and it's probably like a struck through thread or string, something like that. It could be a wire as well. Judging by how soft it is, it could be like a bristle to a brush, would be my guess. There's a little piece of wood right over the date, but that's clung onto the plastic clear material that holds the coin in the 2x2. But yeah, I mean, presentation-wise, not a good look. Take the coin out of the 2x2, image it properly. These 2x2 encapsulations are very cheap. They're like $10 a dozen in most places. But getting back to the mid-air on the 60AD Lincoln, not too bad. This one ended up selling for $14.51. I've seen similar other coins sell for right around $20-25. It could have done better, but that was their buy it now price, and they were fully expecting to sell it at that, and they were okay with it. So there you go. Here's a nice, neat one here on a much older, obsolete type piece. Okay, there's 3-cent coins or the weird denominational, type pieces. They have a very narrow audience because of how eclectic they are. So this 3-cent nickel right here, some people do know, especially the diehard type collectors, know a lot about these. I think they're neat as heck. They were born from a time where postage was king, and being able to make change for postage back in the 19th century included that they had to make 2-cent pieces, 3-cent pieces in both nickel and silver, and various weird kind of stuff like that. So we have this one here, which has a clearly defined delamination. It was probably, my guess was, a clamshell at one point, and then it had just completely fallen off. All right, so a clamshell is where the edge splits. Kind of looks like a clam in the deep blue sea. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty neat. I mean, it would be much more meaningful if that piece was still attached. They definitely have a little bit more value, not a super ton of value, but having that piece retained on there certainly does work wonders for a collector. This one sold for $41.99. It was a buy it now hit on there. Couple neat little Kennedy $half clips. We have a 68D 40% silver Kennedy here. You can see the clip, and the Blakesley effect. Blakesley effect also very, very noticeable on this one. And again, for all of you roll hunters out there looking for these 40%ers, you will come across the occasional clip like this. All right. A coin that has a silver melt value of right around, $3 on this, sold for $24.57. Pretty good trade-off. Sell this, get to 90% silver $half. Pretty easy formula to achieve there. Another one here, 67, another 40%er, and about the same size clip. No really big fanfare. It's not the perfect coin. It's got a little green corrosion on the reverse. but dump it, sell it. $27 was the sale price on this one, which again, that's easy money at the end of the day. If you're using your eyeballs as part of your work, you could do really well at this. So yeah, recognize things like this and you'll do okay. We do have a couple pieces of currency to talk about. Here's the first one here, a 1969D $1 Fed Reserve note. You'll notice a couple void areas where it wasn't printed. These are referred to as gutter folds, and that's the error type here. Real simple. The subject sheet had some unironed, I guess, wrinkles right in the sheet. So it's, as long as the wrinkles exist on there, they're printed over. And this is your final product. And this is all as a result if you stretch out the note to alleviate the wrinkles, then you'll have a unprinted gutter is what they call it. This one has two of them. So the more gutters that exist on the note, the more in theory that they're worth. And there's a reverse as well, showing the same gutters in the area. They're just reversed because the note's flipped over on its front. This one right here sold for $129.95. And yes, they do have quite a bit of value. Again, the more gutters that exist on one single note, that'll just amplify the value on these. A single gutter probably would have made this like a $68 to $80 note all day long. So you see the difference there on the value. And here's a neat one here too that was overlooked by a lot of people. You know how I could tell? This bad boy is circulated. It's been around the block. 1990 $50 bill. Pretty cool one here. There's the front, the back, showing all the nice wear and tear on there. It's got the folds. Yeah, check that out. It's a stuck digit. So that suffix letter was partially turned on there. So you have when you see it kind of fade. All right, that's good. That's a good thing because that letter is turned enough where it's not going to print up the whole thing. To make matters even better, you can also see the corresponding next letter on that wheel at the bottom. That's the top of the B of the next letter on that suffix or on that wheel there. So pretty neat one here. And yes, these are quite pricey, especially when you could see two letters turned on there, which this one, even though you have a sliver of the top of the B, it still counts. This one here sold for $253.51. 5 times your money here. I mean, that's a heck of a deal. I would take that all day long. If you're not a currency collector, I know some people are like, well, I don't hunt paper money. It just doesn't matter to me. Yeah, but sometimes we still use it. And if you look down for once, again, using your eyeballs, look at your money before you put it in your wallet or your purse, you might be able to find something that looks like this. And you guys know what to do. Cash it in. And, that extra couple $100 will go a long ways these days. So, yeah. That's the name of the game, and that's the succeeding part of the whole thing. Just a neat one here. We've talked about a lot of off-center struck coins, and we've had a lot of people kind of like chime in over like the last week. Or like, oh, how does something like this fit in a bankroll? I mean, surprisingly, they do. Especially ones that look like this, where it's just slightly more oblong than a standard Jefferson nickel. It might kind of like poke out of the paper roll. I found a few of these. Or sometimes you'll find something like this in a quarter roll. I've also found a few of those as well. You just never know where these are going to pop out at. So this 1972 featuring a full readable date is off-center by about 50%. Okay, that's pretty good standard there. And this one sold for $41.25. 9 bids. Collectors will buy these as they try and round out like maybe a decade set or some sort of date set. It's a very well collected error type, and they're just really visually appealing. I think I found one of these before, and I will not give them away anymore. This is a 1976 S. This is the S Mint, uncirculated 40% silver, and I found a strike through very similar to this Only it was on the reverse, and I think it was like in between the D and S. So the end of United and beginning of States. And it looks eerily similar to this. I ended up just trading it in with other 40% silvers. And yeah, that's a mint error. That is a strike through. This one on the L of Liberty, perfect placement, by the way, on that letter. Again, that's probably a balled up, hardened piece of grease with metal shavings and dust and dirt and things like that all in there. Yeah, I mean that's cool. And considering the fact that it's on the 40% piece right here, which these were available through the U.S. Mint as a collector item. Very cool, because these things were minted with a little bit more quality control compared to the regular circulating strike coins. So because of that, this is a coin that typically, again, it trades in about $4 to $5. There's a little bit of extra premium because it is a mid-product 40%er. This one sold for $59.95. 20 bids on this one. People loved it. And I will know better next time. Even if you find these on a circulation strike coin, yeah, they're still going to be worth like $20-$30 because guess what? It's the Bicentennial. And guess what's coming up? The semi-quincentennial next year, the 250th anniversary of freedom. And yeah, these coins are getting a little bit more of the limelight these days because of the upcoming event next year. So if you have them, just know that they have quite a bit of value, far exceeding the silver value and the face value. And yeah, you will do good on these. Our one lone Woody Woodgreener on a 1919S. 1919S and proper alloy mix coins are not particularly rare. It's one of the more actually common dates for this particular thing. So an improper alloy mix is just as it sounds. The little bit of tin or zinc that's added to the copper and then mixed before it's prepped for a strip. They don't work well together. It's like oil and water. So this is kind of like what you're going to receive here if it's not mixed properly. And these are collected because of the wood grain look. It's very artistic in nature. And a lot of people love them. This particular one sold for $40. And it's not the craziest sale I've seen. I've seen a lot of these hit $50, $60, $70, $100. It really depends on the date. There are certain dates that are a lot more tougher than others. I like the kind of like photo setup here. 1981p Jefferson nickel. They kind of like clouded all the images together. Real simple. Another cut die break right on top of Jefferson's head there. Love the way this looks. Good job by the seller, by the way. This one sold for $31.06 with 4 bids. So this one was bid up to that amount. And another Cuds just flying all over the place recently. 1980 on this one. Covering, they call this the Godless Lincoln cent. And that's kind of like the moniker that these have been given over the years. Not the greatest looking coin in condition, but it is a Cud die break error. This one sold for $35. So, yeah, keep that in mind. Don't toss these back. We also have a 1956D Lincoln Wheat cent. This is one of my favorite Repunched mint mark varieties. It's actually quite a common one, too. For every, I would say, 50 of them you find, you probably will find one of these. And this particular one right here is the FS 502, I believe? Yeah, I think so. 502 or 501, one or the other. Showing a secondary Denver mint mark punch that is west of the primary. Keeping in mind that long ago, prior to 1990, mint employees were tapping in the mint marks into the working dies. The working dies did all the work. They did all the dirty work in minting today's coins. It's not like that anymore, as the mint marks are computer generated onto the master hubs, and then carried over to the working hubs and the working dies and the working hubs and all that great stuff. So you can't find RPMs on newer coins because of that reason. So this one here sold for $16.69. You're probably asking yourself, why doesn't it sell for more? Well, condition is one. And number 2, this one is quite common. I found dozens, if not maybe 1 or 200 of these over the course of the last 25 years. What do we have here? It looks like a good old 50-cent roll of pennies. All right. This one is quite interesting, and it kind of like makes you wonder the possibilities of what could exist in here. That's why we roll hunt, by the way, is that the possibilities are truly endless. The next piece of treasure could be sitting in one of these rolls of pennies from the bank. So this one right here is actually a roll of 2023 Lincoln cents. These are Philadelphia coins. Okay, so there's one roll end right there. And here's the other. All right. So for those of you that have been kind of like been in tune to a lot of my videos on this particular variety, I'll just give you guys a couple little hints here. Extra V on this one. Extra V ender on this particular roll. How many more exists? That's the question. Now, in today's market, the extra V coins have cooled off a little bit. So they are settling right around like 20 to 30 bucks. This particular one roll here sold for $35.84 with 4 bids. So it's not quite a huge gamble. If you come away finding maybe 2 or 3 of them, not only have you made your money back, but you'll probably end up making about another 30 bucks on top of that. So not too shabby here. You always got to be wary, though, about finding roll enders on something like this, because the end coins are usually damaged just because of the process of crimping the end. This one, you can kind of see some scrapes there at the bottom of Lincoln's jacket, which... If people are truly, genuinely sending these out to grading companies so that way they could get their mint state 66, 67 or higher, the roll enders are not going to be those coins. So we're hoping that there's going to be more of them in this roll. I hear that back in their drop zone days a couple years ago, a lot of people were finding about 3 to 5 of them per roll on average. So... a little food for thought. I'm really excited about what could be in here. I didn't buy it myself. I don't know. It's not my thing. I like the sure things. This one not so sure. That could be the only extra V coin on in the roll. And that would not be a good feeling. We got a couple more here. This one, man, I'm telling you, we have seen some just crazy, insane coins. This one looks legitimate. It's a Canadian cent. This is from 1965 to 1978, where this particular obverse of Queen Elizabeth II was used. Yeah, but we have a full brockage, ladies and gentlemen, on this one. This thing is just really awesome. My goodness. We've seen a few of these on Lincoln cents, but I can't recall the last time I've seen it on a Canadian cent. It's not the perfect coin. It's got a few little nicks and contact marks on the other side. But boy, man, this thing's really cool. I ended up selling for $190.99. That was a buy it now hit. It could have probably gone a lot higher than that because these are so scarce and there's just not too many different cool mint errors on Canadian coins. This is like awesome. It's really cool. We also have this, our final paper money of the day, $1977 bill. Man, what is wrong with this one? I can't really put my finger on it. It might be that all the serial numbers and seals are upside down on the note. Yeah, so that's what happened. The subject sheet was upside down and then printed with that final process of the serial numbers. And man, what a monumental screw up. But you gotta love them, right? This is what we strive for. I just had one of these, ended up selling it. It probably lasted, all of like 2 or 3 days. It was such a quick sale. Collectors of this type of error love it. Pretty big sale, $291.39, 16 bids. No surprise there. It was a banger. And the final coin of the week, another big banging. We saw that other 1980 cut die break. This one kind of beats it by a little bit. Look how massive that thing is. Boy, wow. You can also see the corresponding weakness on the reverse, which holds very true to this one being very genuine. Boy, that's cool, man. And look how worn it is. Like everybody has touched this thing at some point. Many hundreds of people had this thing in their pocket, their purse. Oh man! And then says someone finally decided to say, "Oh yeah, I see what we got here." Threw it up on eBay, and the seller made $124 and a penny. They got their penny back, $124.01 with 11 bids. So it's awesome to be envious for such finds. They are out there. Keep on looking and have fun with it. Again, information in this video is for educational use only, not financial advice. Keep that in mind. Please collect and or grade your coins responsibly. Thank you guys for tuning again. Another great show. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. It was certainly a pleasure. So you go out there, do some hunting, enjoy this wonderful hobby that we're in right now. Ultimately, what binds us and brings us together is, this wonderful hobby, this sport that everybody loves to love. Everybody loves collecting money, and so do I. It's got a lot of rich history, and it brings people together, and that's the name of the game. Well, I'm out of here, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we have a Monday market report coming up here in the next day or two. So you guys take care, have fun, and I will see you on the next coin video. So long.